Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Chico Weekly. This is episode number 3 of this series. If you're new to the whole Chico Weekly concept or videos or whatever, then let me explain. Pretty much every week from Sunday to Saturday, we're going to go over everything that happened in MMA during that week, whether it's fights getting announced, events happening, fighters retiring, roster updates, fights getting removed from certain cards or whatever, things happening with certain fighters, promotional issues, Dana White, power slap, whatever it may be, the rankings. And this week, pretty much, we're going to be going over the week of January 15th, Sunday, to January 21st, this past Saturday. Obviously, this week there was no poster release, so I'm going to just start the video off with this photo right here of this legend, and we're going to get into that later. We're starting off with, that's right, we're starting off the week with Francis Ngannou getting removed from the rankings. This happened literally at like midnight Sunday, so this happened right as Sunday started. Francis Ngannou removed from the UFC rankings. Obviously, he was the heavyweight champion, undisputed at the time, and obviously the contract disputes that happened with the UFC, they fell through. They couldn't really come to an agreement. So what ended up happening was Dana did not give him another contract, and now the title's vacated, and John Jones and Sid Ogan will fight for it. Now, one more thing happened on Sunday. Also, updated card for 283, which we already know what happened in 283. So this was last week's. This is the bout order for UFC Vegas 68. As you can see here, the main card consists of 4 ranked fighters in Tybura, Ivanov, Lewis, and Spivak, all heavyweights. Duho Choi coming back, obviously. And not the most stacked card, obviously, but with the circumstances and with what happened, they worked with what they could. They did the most that they could, and I think the card isn't that bad, honestly. The only sad thing is that we're not getting a card this week, which is it's already the week after the week I'm reviewing right now, so that's kind of sad. But there was one fight that got announced. Junior Tafa and Austin Lane was announced for UFC 287 in Perth for February 11th. That was Sunday. If we go to Monday, this is pretty cool here. The 16th, the Christian Duncan was added to the UFC roster. Also, a few fights were announced. Yeah, just a few. Also the bout order for UFC 284 was released. This is how it's looking as of right now, or at least as of January 15th. I don't know if it changed since then. That we already talked about that fight. Cara Rosa and Norma Dumont. Norma Dumont obviously being ranked number 15 in her weight class. Got announced for a UFC event in April 22nd. Besides the UFC 287, there's 2 fight nights being announced in April right now, and we don't know where any of them are going to be. We don't know the main events for them yet. We just know that there's a lot of pretty fun fights on there, and they especially added to those cards this week. You're going to see a lot of them, and also Muhammad Mokaev and Hafel Filo got announced for UFC 286 March 18th in London. That's a pretty fun fight. Muhammad Mokaev coming back, which is always good. Michelle Waterson Gomez versus Luana Pinheiro got announced for UFC 287 on April 8th. That was Monday. If we move on to Tuesday, obviously the rankings were updated. They get updated every Tuesday. Every Tuesday I tune into the rankings as soon as I wake up to see what's going on there. We'll go from kind of bottom to top, I guess, or top to bottom, also, which also makes sense. With Francis Ngannou being removed from the rankings, a lot of people went up. Adesanya moved up 1 to 5th place. Pereira moved 2 places up to 6th place. Aljamain Sterling moved up 1 to 8th. Prohaska went up 1 to 9th. Figueiredo went up 2 to 10th place. Dustin Poirier remained in his spot. John Jones went up 1 place to 12th. And Robert Whittaker came back to the rankings, to the pound-for-pound rankings at number 13. The amount of times that Robert Whittaker has entered and then left and then re-entered the rankings at pound for pound, it's crazy. But we move. Muhammad Mokaev took Jeff Molina's spot at number 13. Jeff Molina moving down 1 there. Said Nurmagomedov in bantamweight moved up to number 14. Jack Shore moved down to number 15. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Featherweight had no updates. Lightweight had a slight update with Arman Sarukian moving up to 8th place and Rafael Dos Anjos moving down to 9th. No updates at welterweight or middleweight or light heavyweight. But a small update at heavyweight with Blagoy Ivanov moving up 1 and Shamil Abdurakhimov moving down 1. If we look at the women's pound-for-pound rankings, Tala Santos moved up 2 to enter the top 10. Holly Holm moved down 1 to number 11. Manon Fiorot moved up 1 to 12th. Kellen Vieira moved down 4 all the way down to number 15. And that's because of Raquel Pennington beating her and showing off her skill, her head movement, and her boxing. And showing that she's got skill also. And she makes her debut in the women's pound-for-pound rankings at number 13. No changes in strawweight. Alexa Grasso moved up to Tyler Murphy at number 4. In women's flyweight, also at bantamweight, Raquel Pennington moved up 3 places to number 2 to take Kellen Vieira's spot. Kellen Vieira moved down 2 to number 4. Irene Aldana moved down 1 to number 5. And no changes to women's featherweight rankings, which is going to be a pretty common theme. Also, Power Slap aired on TBS. I don't got that pulled up, but they averaged 295,000. They peaked at 295,000 concurrent viewers. A lot of people, some people don't know this, but the show that was airing before that was AEW, which is pro wrestling. That show had 1 million concurrent viewers at that time. So, kind of interesting to see how, as soon as Power Slap turned on, 700,000 people switched the channel. So I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I don't have cable. I don't have TBS. I use like my fucking computer and my phone to like look at, like them 10 minutes previews. And then when that didn't work out, or like when that time ended, I would go to YouTube TV. So I was able to watch the whole thing. And I don't know. It was obviously kind of violent. It's kind of sad to see like even that guy getting like knocked out stiff. You don't really see that often in the UFC. And for that to happen on the first episode of Power Slap it's wild. And I don't know. It's definitely entertainment. It's definitely interesting to watch, but it's just a bit. It's like fun up until someone actually gets hurt, and I don't know. It's just kind of got this whole animosity around it. This whole vibe. It's like it's not the most pleasant experience. But that's just my opinion, and I don't know. I'm probably not gonna watch the next one if I'm honest. Just because I don't have cable and I don't plan on getting cable because that shit's expensive, and I'm not getting cable to watch the Power Slap. So yeah, not for me. And if we move on, a lot of changes happened in the roster. Obviously very filled here in the roster. Gabriel Bonfim added to the roster. Ismael Bonfim added to the roster. Bruno Ferreira added to the roster. Obviously these three were making not their debuts. I think Gabriel Bonfim had fought in the UFC before, but Ismael and Bruno Ferreira were making their debuts for UFC Brazil, obviously on short notice. And also Daniel Marcos got added to the roster. Jeff Molina got removed from the roster. Jeff Molina, being ranked number 14 at flyweight, is now off the roster. It's like a lot of people speculate it's likely due to his connections with James Krause and doing James Krause activities. So the UFC was, it was likely that they were going to remove him. Carlos Mota got removed from the rankings, and Elvis Brenner was added to the rankings. And that's it for Tuesday in the rankings, at least. This is a cool stat. If you want to pause and look at this, we're going to look at Marcel here for fights that got announced. This was for Monday, was it not? 15, 16. Oh no, this is for Tuesday. Bruna Brazil will fight Denise Gomez at a UFC event April 15th. What else happened? Lucindo will fight Melissa Martinez at a UFC event April 22nd. Also announced was, this is cool too, making the list. This list of obviously Dana White telling telling the media that this certain person doesn't want to fight. There's Dustin Poirier, John Jones, Nick Diaz, GSP, Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, Nate Diaz, Shogun, Jorge Masvidal, Jose Aldo, Chris Cyborg, Alistair Overeem. Now, Francis Ngannou being added to that list of people. That's pretty cool. Well, actually, it's not really cool. That's kind of sad. But Bahamondes will fight Nicholas Moda at UFC 287, April 8th. What else got announced? Martin Boudet will fight Jake Collier at the UFC event in April 15th. It's likely to be a fight night. Jake Collier obviously fought Chris Barnett in his last fight. This was a pretty big fight that got announced. You're going to see this one on the thumbnail for sure. Piotr Yan, number 1 bantamweight contender, will fight Merab Dvalishvili, number 3 bantamweight contender for UFC Vegas 71 on March 11th. That's a fun one. That's likely to be the main event. No, it is the main event. Look at that. Main event. Crazy. Very, very fun fight there. A lot of people worrying for Peter Yan in that fight. I'm gonna talk about it in another video probably. But that's a super fun one. That's it for Tuesday. We're gonna move on to Wednesday, which with even more roster updates. A lot of them too. Way more than Tuesday. That's a lot. And it's the UFC seemed to purge a lot of fighters with this one. Brendan Davis removed. Vince Morales removed. Kevin Natividad removed. Gadzi Omar Gadziev removed. Julian Paiva removed. That guy is known for fighting Sean O'Malley, or for his fight with Sean O'Malley. Alejandro Perez removed. Jay Perrin, who went 0-3 in the UFC, who fought Raul Rosas Jr. in his last fight, removed. Marcelo Rojo removed. Ludwig Sholinian removed. Michael Trezano removed. And Sahara Eubanks, who was scheduled to fight for the Strickland Imavov card, which that fight got canceled. She is now being removed from those rankings. That is it for Wednesday on the rankings, at least. Or not the rankings, the roster, I mean. Yeah. And there were a few fights that got announced, around 6. We're going to look at Francis Marshall versus William Gomez was announced for a UFC event on April 22nd. Also, this is a pretty big one. You're going to see this one on the thumbnail for sure. It's a champion. Valentina Shevchenko, champion at flyweight. Many title defenses. I made a video on her already. If you want to check it out, you can go ahead. She will fight Alexa Grasso at UFC 285 on March 4th. That is the undercard for John Jones Cirogan. 2 title fights. Very fun, very entertaining. Let's see if Shevchenko can complete that. You know, you can see at the bottom there the octagon. Let's see if she can complete those rubies on the left side. We're going to move on to... This is a big one as well. I think this is number 6 or number 7. Let's look at the rankings. I don't have the best memory. Number 6 ranked Rob Font will fight number 13th ranked Adrian Yanez at UFC 287 on April 8th. This is the first fight to be kind of talked about for UFC 287, finally getting announced on Wednesday. Very, very fun fight. Super excited for this one. This is probably most likely on the thumbnail because they're both ranked. TJ Brown will fight Bill Algeo, I don't know how to say it, UFC event April 15th. Dustin Jacoby, formerly ranked at number 15th most recently, who got knocked off after a year he vacated, will fight Azamat Murzakanov at a UFC event April 15th. Also, a big one here too, Edson Barboza will fight Billy Quarantillo at UFC event on April 15th, or Quarantillo. Yeah, this one was announced on his OnlyFans. That's a pretty big fight to announce on your OnlyFans. Definitely OnlyFans worthy, Edson Barboza. That's a pretty big one. Another update here for UFC 283, which already happened. Pay-per-view at the end of the show. Yep, there will be a pay-per-view for the Power Slap League. Didn't Power Slap League debut on Wednesday? Pretty sure I got that wrong with Tuesday. Pretty sure. Yeah, now we're in Thursday. If we're looking at Thursday, only 3 fight announcements. That was it, but some pretty big ones nonetheless. He signed his contract finally. Jack Shore coming back. A lot of people don't know this, but he announced long time ago, a couple months ago actually, Jack Shore announced that he would be moving to featherweight. And now it's finally happening with Jack Shore fighting Makwan Amirkhani, UFC 286 March 18th for UFC London. He will be leaving the bantamweight rankings. I want y'all to let me know who you think will replace his place in bantamweight, because bantamweight obviously very, very competitive division, super stacked. I think this is the most stacked division right now in the UFC, with second place probably being lightweight. And who takes his place at bantamweight? It's gonna be very interesting to see, because it's probably gonna be Basharat, or actually Figueiredo's moving. Bro, we gotta get into this later, And that was not it. Raul Rosas Jr. is fighting Christian Rodriguez at UFC 287 April 8th. They are giving this boy he's a man now. He's an adult. They're giving this man that good treatment, only putting him on the UFC pay-per-views. That's the right way to do it. That's the right way to build him up, to hype him up. I think they should put him on the feature prelim, maybe even the main card if they decide not to stock it up a lot. But I don't think Conor McGregor is going to be on that card, which means that they do need to work to stack it. So it'll depend on who else is on that card. So we're going to move on to another big one, for me at least. Obviously, this fight got announced on Sunday. And just 4 days later, Lane had to pull out, and now Junior Tuffle will fight Waldo Cortez Acosta, UFC 284 on February 11th. Looking forward to this fight. In my opinion, I think they should have put this one on probably the maybe not the main card, but at least like maybe the feature prelim. Nah, Tyson Pedro I think gets it. They should put it behind it at least. I have to rethink who's on the prelims. I have to look again. But that's it for Thursday. We're going to move on to Friday, which had a roster update. Victor Rodriguez was removed from the UFC roster. What else happened? Also on Thursday, there was no press conference for UFC 283, but there were the weigh-ins. Everybody made weight except for the replacement in case, Jamal Hill or Glover Teixeira pulled out, last minute or whatever. I think they're being a lot more lenient on this with what happened with, Derek Lewis and Sergey Spivak. That's my theory. Derek Lewis pulled out of that event, just a few hours before it happened. And I think now what's going on is they're not doing it with fight nights, I don't think, but they're definitely doing it with pay-per-views, because they know that now that this is definitely possible for a pay-per-view. It's like a warning, So they're doing it a lot with some of these new pay-per-views, UFC 280 had a replacement with Volkanovski, just in case. And now 283 is having that replacement with Anthony Smith. Not only the light heavyweight title, but also the flyweight title. Pantoja weighed in. He actually made weight. So that's pretty cool. And there's more that happened. Another pretty big fight got announced. Pedro Munoz and Chris Gutierrez will fight on a UFC event February 15th. Very fun one there. Another big one. This is a super huge fight for me, honestly. Bobby Green versus Jared Gordon. Ooh. Y'all cannot sleep on this fight. This is a fun one. Come on. At a UFC event April 22nd. Cannot come soon enough. Bro, I'm ready for this fight. Super fun one. Super fun. A lot of good ones also got announced. Pierre Rodriguez will fight Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson was the one who submitted Rose Namajunas this about a month ago, for the Fury Pro 6 grappling matches. Did it in 63 seconds. Very impressive there. She's in there. I did not know she was in the UFC, honestly. So very interesting to see where she goes now in her career. She will fight at a UFC event on April 15th. Also, Christian Leroy Duncan. Pretty sure a lot of people were talking about him coming to the UFC. I'm pretty sure he was the one that made the announcement that he was going to the UFC. Very happy about that one. I was very excited for his debut, and now he's going up against Dusko Todorovic, who's coming off a win against Jordan Wright. This is a fun fight for me. Very excited for this one. I think this is the right matchup to make. We're going to go on to another big one for Friday. Song Yadong will fight Ricky Simon. Song Yadong ranked number 9. I'm pretty sure he's number 9. He's number 8, which is nice. I like that he's number 8. We'll fight number 10, Ricky Simone. So that's a good one there too. The Kung Fu Kid takes on the one and only Ricky Simone, who's on a 5-fight winning streak. Number 8 versus number... Bro, it was right there. How did I not see that? It'll take place on April 22nd. A lot of good fights getting announced for April, man. April's so far away. You know. Also, Said Nurmagomedov versus Jonathan Martinez was announced for UFC Vegas 71 on March 11th. That's a fight that's closer. That's a fight that I'm excited for. Said Nurmagomedov ranked number 14 at bantamweight. And Jonathan Martinez, man, some people don't know this. He was the one that beat Cub Swanson in October. You know, the UFC was trying to push that hype for the fight with Cub Swanson and Jonathan Martinez. They were trying to push Cub Swanson, promote him a lot for that fight night. Jonathan Martinez was able to get that win via TKO, I'm pretty sure, because what's it called? Just Cub Swanson got that leg injury. And that was it for Friday. We move on to Saturday. We're just gonna look at the fights announced first for Saturday. Steve Garcia Jr. versus Nordon Bieke. I'm definitely saying that wrong. Was announced for UFC 287 on April 8th. Also, Lando Venata versus Daniel Zellhuber was announced for an event in April 15th. There was also Batjarel Dana versus Brady Highstand announced for UFC event in April 15th, on April 15th. We're now going to move on to the events that happened. UFC 283, very eventful. We're going to look at the championship announcements first. Brandon Moreno and once again, now the two-time UFC flyweight champion of the world, defeating Deiveson Figueiredo by a third round TKO right at the end, in between rounds, in between the third and fourth. Deiveson Figueiredo could not see out of his left eye because Brandon Moreno hit him with a very, very grueling shot. The knuckle just hit the eye right away, and by the end of the round, it was completely closed shut. Brandon Moreno was winning the fight. I had him 2-1 with Figueiredo winning the first, Brandon Moreno winning the second and third. And yeah, very happy for him. This is the fight. I was probably most nervous for this fight. I was most nervous for the Teixeira fight. I was second most nervous for this fight, and god damn, I'm so happy Brandon Moreno got that win. Did it for Mexico, and very happy for him there. I was rooting for him for so long. Ever since I knew about his story, learned about it, a couple months back. And then when he won the interim belt in July, I was just rooting for this guy, man. And I knew he was going to fight in Rio de Janeiro. Fight got announced, got super excited a few months ago. Now winning the undisputed title. Super happy for him. Honestly, it's possible that they could have done a pentology, 5 fights. Figueiredo versus Moreno 5, because this is still it's not the right conclusion still. They could do a 5th one, but they were to do a 5th one, then it'd have to be, Pantoja and Figueiredo and a lot of guys up there who want that title shot next. So it'd be tough to, figure that one out. Plus, Figueiredo would have to make weight at least one more time at flyweight. He might even have to make it multiple more times. He doesn't want to do that, clearly. He wants to go to bantamweight. He's done with flyweight. And, it is what it is there. We move on to another new champion. The belt was vacant at light heavyweight, and the new champion is Jamal Hill. He is the first UFC champion from Dana White's Contender Series. Jamal Hill winning by unanimous decision. All 5 rounds went by. It was a 50-44 across all 3 judges' scorecards. I had Jamal Hill winning every round. It was not very close. The closest round I'd say was probably the 2nd round, maybe the 5th as well. But Jamal Hill was just the clear winner, clear dominator. He definitely proved a lot of people wrong. He showed a lot of his skills. He got a lot of questions answered. How'd he do on the ground? How'd he do with his, his cardio and all that? Proved all the wrong. I'm going to talk more about this card with my card review video, but this is just pretty much a summary. Jamal Hill now the new champion at light heavyweight. Was number 7 on the rankings. This opportunity was brought to him. Didn't even have a full training camp. And winning the title now, this was definitely his moment. Stars aligned for him. No, I want to say the stars aligned. That's kind of like rude to say it's like the stars aligned. That's to say he got lucky. He definitely didn't get lucky. He showed his skill in this fight. Very impressive. Um, what I meant to say is the opportunity definitely walked up to his doorstep. He took it right away. Even on a short fight camp, even not even being top five at like heavyweight, still able to manage that very dominant win. Super impressive. Super proud. You guys all saw the Jiri Prohaska video. Very very funny that one. Um, you know, you guys can go watch it for yourself if you want. It was a very funny video. Yeah, Shogun Rua retired after his fight with Igor Portiera. First round knockout loss. Very, I don't even want to talk about that right now. We can get into that for the card review. This video is already long enough. Yeah, I'm a rant about that one there. Also, Glover Teixeira retired. Glover Teixeira, his whole life wanted to be the UFC champion. He wanted to compete in sports, and then he found his dream. Wanted to be UFC champion. Obviously, was very difficult for him to get to the UFC. He had to illegally move into the UFC just to get that opportunity. Had to move back to Brazil, put his entire career on hold. But Dana White, his wife, and his coaches and everybody, Chuck Liddell, they all stuck through him, stuck with him that entire time until he was able to compete in the USA once again. He did very well. Went into the UFC, lost the title fight to John Jones, had an insane career resurgence, and at 42 years old went on a 6-fight winning streak after, because he was on a 5-fight, then went to 6-fight after beating Jan Blachowicz for the undisputed title. He got what he deserved. He got the title. His legacy is complete. People will talk about him for years to come, and especially with that fight of the year with Jiri Prohaska, that's super fun. Also, he said it himself that I'm too tough for my own good. If I don't stop now, I'm gonna keep going, and I have to stop for myself. He retired. I kind of saw it coming. Just with his coaches there holding his gloves, he had the gloves off. Even though he said that he wouldn't retire, because he was still in his prime years, I'm glad that he went out this way. And super sad that he didn't win the title. I was rooting for him in that one. But yeah, legend. And I hope he makes his way into the UFC Hall of Fame one day. Speaking of Hall of Fame, not that one. Jose Aldo, he's making it to the UFC Hall of Fame. Class of 2023. WEC champ, UFC champ, legend of the sport. A lot of people consider him to be the GOAT at featherweight. Jose Aldo Jr. It was announced he was in the crowd there, and he will be inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame. Very happy for him there. That video they played of him, I recorded it on my phone, and super emotional, super, heartwarming, and I'll be honest, I kind of almost cried for them when Teixeira and Jamal Hill after that fight happened. I don't know what, it was just kind of like a lot of emotions during, like, maybe I'm crazy, they don't even know me, I don't even know them, but it's just the stories, and there's everything that happened. It's just, there's so much history. These are people's lives, their careers. There's such a history behind both these fighters and what they went through and everything, both of them. I'm gonna get into this for the card review. You know what, I can't talk about this too much now. Video's already long enough. Ismael Bonfim and Jailton Almeida taking home the performance of the night. Bonuses: Teixeira versus Hill taking home the fight of the night. Very, very, very fun card there. And that was it for Saturday, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was it for Saturday. I wasn't even supposed to talk about the Glover one because he technically retired on a Sunday, if we're talking about the time zone I'm in. But it don't matter. We got to honor this guy. And I hope people don't forget him. I definitely won't forget him. Just impressive career, impressive what he's been able to accomplish. Beat a lot of top guys, and especially at his age too. So the fact that he stuck around for so long has the most finishes in UFC light heavyweight history. Also, Jamal Hill breaking the record for most significant strikes in a light heavyweight fight and title fight, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So that was Chico Weekly episode 3. it was very tough for me to figure out who was gonna go on the thumbnail for this video because there were so many fun big fights that got announced. But also people retiring, getting removed from the roster, so I had to like cut it down too. But I'm hoping it turned out well because I didn't even make the thumbnail yet. So yeah, this video is 30 minutes long. If you made it this far, thank you, because 30 minutes is a lot to bear with. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week for the next Chico Weekly, and I'll see you guys tomorrow because I got a lot of videos planned for this week. A lot of things I got to talk about. A lot of things. Expect daily uploads, and if I don't daily upload, then I'm a bitch. Have a good day.